What's going on, guys? I am here with Danny and our boy Swervo. We decided to do a little bit of extra activity on the side. I have asked Danny to join me because he is an awesome trader, and he is one that I consider a mentor of mine. And we should all have mentors, and we should all talk and chat about our rule set from time to time. And we know for an absolute fact that we are always refining those rule sets. So today, that's what we're going to do. I figured we would record it, so that way we could have a better understanding of kind of how a conversation would go with your mentor, so you can see how you can refine your trading rules. Okay. All right. So Danny, as we were talking before, we were talking about how you don't buy or sell anything in the pre-market or the aftermarket, and I've never really came into the issue of having, well, really any issues with buying or selling in pre-market, unless it was like a buy that, was like too exciting, back in the day, like trying to buy something preemptive or whatever. But my biggest issue was right here when I when I sold out of CORZ. Now, I had that issue I was telling you about with MRUS, where we had this gap down where I buy here and my stop loss was here, and it just gapped all the way down. I was down like $850, which is 2.3 or almost 3% risk, and I was only risking 1%. And I waited for the snapback, and it did. It had an awesome snapback, and I sold a piece here, and I sold a piece here, roughly right where my 1% was, and it was a beautiful sell, and I felt great. So after you had told me, like, hey, was that part of your rule set? Well, that's where the issue lie here in my rules. Is my rule set was my stop should have been, I'm just going to blow this up so everybody can see this a little easier. My rule set was to close below this low of day,
Yeah.
And so that should have been my stop loss, right? And so my issue with this is I wake up in the morning and I have another big gap down like this. Now, after you had told me, like, hey, well, I wait till market open, I did a little bit of a deeper dive. And if we look at this on the daily, so I actually sold on my phone while I was in the bed when I'm only like 10 feet from my computer, and I should have brought open my screen. And instead of looking at my P&L and seeing how much I was down, I could have just went to my screen, opened it up, and really realized that, hey, we have came below this 10-day moving average multiple times. The fact that this is, creating a new higher low still, and not too much further than it has been from its 10-day moving average. What I should have did is the same thing I did on MRUS, use that low of the pre-market right here and waited for the market to open. So I think just after talking with you, I've been sitting here for an hour really thinking about it. And I think that I'm going to adhere to more of your rule set when it comes to pre-market and aftermarket. When it comes to selling. Now, I think I understand why, but I'd like to hear it from you. Why have you adhered to that rule?
Well, I think you already answered your own question. You had like very good thoughts about selling.
You have me really thinking, bro. I mean,
But
after you text me all of that, that's all I've been thinking about all day, dude.
I can believe that. Well, my initial thoughts, how I first learned about gap downs in the pre-market was from Brian Shannon, and he thought that you have to wait for the first 5-minute bar in the regular hours, and then put your stop underneath the low of the 5-minute bar. So I remember I learned that one, but then I remember reading from Oliver Kell, and he said that he will immediately sell when the stock gaps down.
Really?
So
Oliver Kell does that,
yeah,
huh?
he said
Okay.
like he's a fan of that, but of course I think it depends a lot in this situation, because CORZ is in a big uptrend, as you can see.
Yeah.
And I will check the pre-market. Where did it hit there? But yeah, you were right. It didn't even hit the pivot low from the previous higher low.
Yeah, if it would have broke
And
that $9, that should have been like, oh
yeah,
crap, this thing could really flush right down to 830 easily if
exactly.
it breaks. So yeah. So I think
And like,
two rules are going to be going in here now. I think I have two rules that are going to be set from this. And the first one is going to be, if I wake up first thing in the morning and I see that I'm down, there is no selling from my bed. There is no selling from my cell phone. And it almost is embarrassing to say, but it's good to actually have this conversation because I should know better, you know? But I honestly do not have that rule in place to not trade from my phone or not trade from my bed or not trade right when I wake up. So I think there was emotional attachment to this, waking up and seeing that I was down, especially after MRUS. Remember, I woke up, I was down. At first, I was down like $600 or $700. Then I was down $850, and that was and so I was like, man, I don't want that. You know, there was an emotional sell to it as well. So I think what I need to do is just say, hey, I got myself into this mess. I have to wait till market open regardless. And at least give myself time to get up, open up the laptop, and see what's going on. Because 99% of the time, if there's any issues, I can get to my laptop. You know, I'm right here in front of it. So why the hell wouldn't I have done that? So.
And I also think that a major thing here is that I was so stressed about this name because I had like I had like 1,000 shares in this, and I was like expecting like much bigger gap down.
Oh, really? Okay.
But the problem was here that I didn't have enough conviction in this name, even though I should have. It's like a very strong name. It has held the 10-day pretty well. I would say if you will go from the EP day, from the day they announced when they announced the deal.
Yeah.
Since that, it's only once closed below the 10-day, but it immediately recovered.
Right after. And have you looked at the anchored VWAP on this? I'll throw it on.
Of course, yeah.
Of course, yeah.
it hit it like, or actually, it's in my. I haven't checked the hourly, but on the daily, it almost hit it. It was like 4 cents away from that.
Yeah, right
so
here.
Very close.
Yeah. And then it soaked right back up. The next day is squatted down on the 10-day, and then from there it's been holding it. And then even this day, when it squatted down on the 10-day, when I exited the trade, it continued to rally. And now we have this beautiful base top here, and it looks really nice. So I'm going to erase this from my memory because I would like to play this base top. Now, I do believe this IREN is also created this base top, and it's breaking out technically right now. It's breaking out above it. I would like to see this have a few more days. Obviously, I don't like to see these base breakouts only having 2 days to consider a base. I rather see 3, 4, 5 days considering it a base. But like you said, I think we talked about this. It's not the best play. You know, it's not the best play on IREN, although it does seem to be the strongest play, you know. So maybe a trend breakout would have been the time to get into IREN, but CORZ, I do like this base because we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and now 6 days where we're finding an issue getting above that 1050. And so if it breaks above that 1050, please go ahead.
Yeah, sorry.
No, please go ahead.
Okay, I think the massive difference between CORZ and IREN is that if you check CORZ, it has been tight. It's much more tighter than IREN. And also I was looking at the how many ATRs it is from the 50 day.
Uh-huh.
And if you remember, I sent you the Jeff Soon. He was like also champion in the American is that trading tournament.
Yes.
And he was talking a lot about that he will take stocks that are not over 5 ATRs from 50 day. And what I've been looking at, that's like pretty good one. So
Yeah.
I will actually expect that if CORZ is pretty nice right now, but it's very loose. See, like the previous day is very loose.
Uh-huh.
I think it just needs time, like few days more time,
Yeah, take it a little
so that
tighter here. Have it like
yeah,
2 inside days at least, maybe 3 if we're lucky, before it
yeah.
blows up above that 1050. I agree. Yeah, I agree. I would
But
love to see.
Iran is closer in ATR wise from the 50 day than the CORZ.
Actually, right
So
now, I
that's
just checked them. They're pretty close to being the same.
yeah,
I got,
they are pretty close.
yeah, I got 69 on IREN and I think 66 on CORZ. So,
What do you mean 66?
let's see. So right now, where it closed, we have 70% is what I'm getting. So 69, 70% for
But you
IREN.
have to calculate with ATRs, not with
Oh, I'm sorry. I was just
percentage.
calculating the
Yeah.
percentage wise. Yeah.
So
Okay.
CORZ ATR is 0.78.
Okay.
And then the 50 day from CORZ is 4.1.
Okay. So how are you you're taking the average daily range
So
and then doing what was
yeah,
that?
I'm dividing its if the ATR is $0.78
Uh-huh.
and how many dollars is it away from the 50 day? So it's $4.1 away from the 50 day. Right now it's 4.1, and I'm dividing it by 0.78, and it will come as 5.25. So with that criteria, you need to wait because you can see the 50 days obviously coming up. So if it gets tighter, then it will fit the criteria I would expect within even on Tuesday. It will be already fine.
Okay, this
But
is a
right now
new.
it's over. Yeah, I sent it if you remember. It wasn't the easiest explanation from him,
Yeah.
but he's like very very good at it, and when you understand what he means,
Yeah,
you
I
will
think I
get
was asking
that.
you about that. Yeah. I do remember now.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that is one, and then if we'll check Iran,
Yeah.
IREN, its ATR is 1.3 and it's 6.25 away. So that's 4.8. So technically, this is close enough to the 50 day to take the setup. But on the other hand, I would never take like another trade above the 15. If it opens up above 15, I will totally not add to my trade. I will add only when it gives another actual good setup, when it gets tight and then it has a clear horizontal or not horizontal or horizontal or it makes a flag, then I can add to it pretty close to the 10 day.
Okay.
That's what I did on the day when it broke on the first on Monday.
Okay.
No, actually, no, I didn't trade that one. I traded the next one. Yeah, when I entered at 13. Yeah, that's when
Okay.
I entered.
Okay. At 13.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, let's continue to you.
Yeah. No. So, just to uh, to repeat myself,
Yeah.
that I think all in all, CORZ ended up being an emotional sellout, and I think what you said was a really something really good that I think not just for me but for anybody that's listening. Um, you said that you expected a gap down. I did too. My issue is I had a dollar amount that I was watching where you were expecting a larger gap down. So you were thinking, you actually had this in your head and you were thinking you were expecting a bigger gap down. So I
Yeah.
think that's another thing that I need to put in my head. Instead of a biasy like, oh yeah, I am expecting a gap down because get Bitcoin gap down, I need to have a number expectancy and say, okay, well, if it gaps down and it opens up down here below this or below this, I need to exit right away because we have a chance to come down even further. So that way I can expect the worst rather than waking up not having a clue on where I have a biasy of where it might gap down to. So I feel like that's the next step in this game of chess where you had your expectation, and then from there I can have an if-then statement. If this breaks $9, then I need to sell in pre-market. Or
Yeah.
or just have it at least in my head where I can accept the loss before I even see it. So that way, when the dollar amount shows up, whether it's more or less, then I can take action in that situation. So I think preemptive, if there is an if-then statement, I should be allowed to sell in pre-market, but only if I have calculated that. Because if I haven't calculated it yet and I wake up, then it's considered an emotional buy or sell. I think that is going to be the best way for me to go about that. So now that I've repeated myself, there's not going to be any trading from my phone or from the bed if I have the availability of getting in front of my computer, because I think that would have kept me, first of all, from being emotional about this, knowing that we have an area of support, and two, I need to also have an added focus on expectations. Because if I have a biasy, whether it is a positive or negative biasy, I can adhere to my emotions before they even happen. So I think that's what I'm going to take out of this little mini section. The only other thing I wanted to talk about, Danny, was as but I'll just say it because we have people that will be listening to this in the future. We had all your Mag 7 stocks, your AMZN make new all-time highs, your Meta making new all-time highs. You had Tesla still ripping, not making new all-time highs, but obviously showing extremely fruitful, not on just price action, but volume, so both. We had Google, G-O-O-G-L, Alphabet, new all-time highs. What else we have? Apple, AAPL, making new all-time highs, and the list goes on. Mm-hmm. Why I'm bringing this up is because I want to just bring up the fact that my NVDA, the only Mag 7 stock that's out there, did not make new all-time highs. It just kind of, now I'm not sweating it. It's still above a 10-day moving average, and it's already made a huge move, but I'm in it, and I didn't see it go up with the rest of the crowd. CLS, the stock that I'm in, also didn't move up with the rest of the crowd. Carvana didn't move up with the rest of the crowd. If anything, actually, it came down. And AMSC also did not move up with the rest of the crowd. And I think I kind of have my own explanation for this, my kind of, and also I stopped out of TME on a green day in the S&P 500. So the stocks that I'm holding, when we look at this S&P 500, this is the very first time this has ever happened to me where I'm in relatively strong stocks compared to the market across the board and higher ADR percentage across the board. And I actually stopped out of a trade and lost a lot of money. Like I had a big red day on Friday when the previous day, this day, the 3rd of July, I was up $1,500 the next day. Not only did I give that $1,500 back, but then some. So what do you do psychologically, or do you have an explanation, or do you have any kind of maybe words for me? I've already kind of talked myself down, and I totally understand. It's like, am I sticking to my process? Yes, of course I am. These are all trades that I am very happy to be in, except for CLS. I don't really care for CLS now in hindsight. I was actually really trying to figure out why I bought this here, to be quite honest. But other than CLS, I'm very happy with AMC, Kava. I'm happy with my TME when and where I bought it.
Yeah.
So if you can give me a little bit of like understanding or just, I want your thoughts on this. Actually, that's what I want. I just want your thoughts on this, please.
Okay. Firstly, I think TME was great. I also took it, and I was happy that I took it because if you think that only 30% of your trades are gonna be positive,
Sure.
I think exactly this setup that you have here is exactly the ones that you should take.
I agree
And
100%.
what was your criteria on the ADR? Was it 3.5 or 4?
3.1.
3.1.
3.1 is where it's at, and my stop loss was 2.89. So I
No, I
was
mean, no, not
sorry.
in TMA, but in general. The stocks that you screen, what is the
Oh,
ADR
4%.
minimum criteria? 4%. Okay.
Yes.
Why do you show me Apple, which has 2.63,
Yep.
and why do you even
And
look at
Meta,
those?
why?
Like
Okay, that's a
Amazon has
yes.
2.18. Those should not even come on your
No, it's the fact that
screener. I
I'm
will explain.
watching them.
Okay, why are you watching them?
That's a great,
They don't
and
even move.
I love
Like
this.
the huge
I,
breakout that you're talking is not a huge. Imagine it like Amazon got up, what is from 190 to 200, and
sure.
that's it. That's not gonna ever move your account.
No,
Like
but
if you're gonna go degenerately on margin, then maybe that would be stupid. So I
yes.
think you should look at markets from setup perspective. Like right now, I cannot show you like five five-star setups, even five. In a
Yes.
good market, there are like tons of setups, and your only problem is that you don't know which one you're gonna take. So I think that's like a massive problem there.
Okay.
And also, I think as how I look at SPY and Qs, I don't look at the price action almost at all. I just look where the 10 and 20 are,
Okay.
and that's it. Like it can go up or down, but I will just see where is the 10 and 20. Like is the
Sure.
10 above the 20 or not? And right
Sure.
now it is clearly. And I think if you will just open your scanner and you will see that IWM is doing very bad.
Sure. Yes,
Like
it
it's
is.
like
Below all
the
moving
what
averages.
is that yeah, it's below everything. At the same time, if you open TNX, which is 10-year treasury note, the
Yep.
rates are down. They have been going down like for 3 days, and IWM did nothing good within that time. It also got down, which is like very rare. It should go up.
Right. If the 10-year treasury
So
is
it
going
was like,
down, the small time speculative stock should go up.
yeah,
Yeah, that
yeah.
makes
So
sense.
you can see that it's not. It wasn't even specifically about the rates.
Okay.
So, so I think it just like it's a period where your setups are just not working that great.
Okay.
In general, it's not like a big boom. Not even big boom, but it's not like an easy market. It's like a stock pickers market. Like here, you need to focus which stocks held, which stocks had the relative strength. Just open like HUT. Like, look at this thing. It's crazy. It did nothing when the market was a little bit pulling back. When other stocks were going like down, it still got up. It's like this is a great stock and a great relative strength or BT Digital. This is also like this had like the biggest uh what is that? Uh when they gapped down yesterday and
Uh-huh.
they like made how much did they make? They made 18%, 19% move. It's insane.
Yeah, that is big.
So I think this is just like in a time which uh which is very difficult. and you need to understand it's not easy, and only some stocks are working. And how can you make your what is that hit rate going up? You can do that by focusing on sectors and groups. Like right now, clearly miners were doing well. Then also ARM
Yeah.
was doing very great. It's doing excellent. Then what can I say? Then also gold was breaking. So there was like, for example, CDE. I'm not sure if you took it.
I did not
I
take
wouldn't
it. I
say
really wish I
I
would have
wouldn't
paid better
say
attention.
this
I do have you marked
great,
out on here at
but
588.
this is all choppy. This is very choppy stock. So I'm not like extremely happy about this, but it's like one of the only good stocks that I can participate in gold. Then also, what do we have? We have, for example, Reddit was doing well, but it had a failed breakout above the highs, and it's
Yeah.
like a fresh IPO, and it has lots of AI potential
Are you still
because
holding
they
a
use.
position in this?
No, I got stopped.
Did you? Okay. I was gonna say I think you
Yeah,
and I were
I
trading
never
somewhere in
re.
this area.
Yeah, we
And
did, and I never re-entered because there was no tight setup,
yeah,
which is
of
fine
course,
for me.
of course.
Some people did, but I was picky with that.
I personally am liking
Then
how NNE is starting to set up. I really
yeah,
like
it's
that
great.
it's starting to form. I think it needs 2 or 3 more days of tight action. I think on the hourly it looks the best. Like if you look at the hourly, you can see how clean it's getting. I took this hourly break here. I wanted to take this hourly break, but I don't have big enough purchasing power. But it's starting to get tight here. I'm hoping it gives us a couple more days. And I got DYN on my criteria as well. Healthcare, it's starting to get tight. I'm
I
in
will check
Kava.
DYN.
I think you want to take a look at Kava too. It's getting really tight for a
Yeah,
nice breakout. And I think our boy was taking a watch of that, Ariel. He's keeping an eye on that.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. He
Cores,
is.
TGTX as well. If you look at this on the daily, I think you'll
I
like that
know.
one. You do? Yeah, okay. I wasn't sure if you pointed that out. Also, CrowdStrike, I found, but I'm going to be going all over this on Sunday. I think CrowdStrike. Now, CrowdStrike's a lower ADR, though. That's my
I
only
know.
issue with it.
And
It's
that's
much
why
lower.
we cannot trade it. You should not
Okay.
even. That should not even come up on your
Okay.
scans.
Hey, and to
TGTX
rebuttal,
is it?
just to
Yeah.
rebuttal on AMZ, Tesla, all of those, the slower moving
Yeah.
stocks, Meta. The only
Tesla is
reason
not a
why,
slow moving stock. It's 4.3.
what's that?
It's Tesla's ADR is 4.3. You
Is it?
should be
Oh wow.
able to trade
Okay.
it. Yeah.
Okay. Well, there's no setup for
It
me to trade it
already
now, but
from yeah.
but I guess what I'm trying to say, thanks for pointing that out to me, Danny. But what I was trying to point out is like AMZ. The only reason why I'm looking at those is because those are the only things that were moving in the market. And I always ask myself, well, why is the S&P 500 moving up, and why am I not making money? Because in general, in the general talk of things, if the market goes up, I'm usually making money, and I'm usually making really fast money because I'm in relatively strong stocks compared to the market.
Yeah.
So I think what you pointed out for me that I'm taking away from here is yes, I should be, but because we're in faster moving stocks, which are usually small and mid cap stocks, I'm not going to be making that money. And the setups are very thin right now. We're only finding 4 or 5 setups each week or each day, rather than finding a 2 dozen setups each week or each day. And instead of choosing which ones are the best, we have to take what is given to us. So, am I understanding that right?
Yes, you are.
Okay,
And
cool.
also, if you wanna open the link, this NHNL
Yeah,
chart.
I do.
I
I
I sent it to the general chat.
Perfect.
Yeah. So, um,
New
if
higher
you
lows are
just
not
check
being
that,
made.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it has just been stalling sideways, and in sideways, if they're not making like new highs,
Hmm.
it's hard to
Yeah.
make money in that. Or I mean, you just have to accept there are times when you have opportunities and sometimes when you don't. I remember I was so struggling when I was like in pre-market like 5 minutes before the open, and I already told my girlfriend like there will be nothing for me to do today,
Yeah.
and it was killing me, and I felt so lazy. But I
Yeah.
know like I could go and chase and buy some 3-star setups, but I
Sure.
know I would just waste my money. I would lose. Definitely, I would
Absolutely.
lose there because it's already hard enough to make good profit even even in a good market, because it also requires you to exit your positions in right places.
Very true.
So I think you just need to accept that now there are only few sectors that are doing well,
Okay.
and just focus on those.
Okay. Well, dude, I can't thank you enough. I love being able to bounce ideas off of somebody who is just on another level. You know what I mean? Like it's. I feel great. I've been making
Just a little
really
bit.
good money. It feels really really good that I've been sticking to my setup. I'm becoming one of the most disciplined traders of the version of myself I've always wanted to be when
Yeah,
it comes to trading, you know, and you know me very, very well, like on a personal level, just because we shoot the shit constantly and we go back and forth. I am on a whole new level of trading when it comes to the disciplinary rules and the setups, and it makes me feel absolutely like I do. I'm on cloud nine, dude. But when I have days like
that's
this,
amazing.
I step back and I'm like, okay, instead of like freaking out, because I would say 2 years ago I would have sold out of everything, like what, I don't know what the hell's going on, you know. But now
Yeah,
that I know I have such a very clear and clean cut process, I can step back, especially because the weekend that helps too. I can step back, give myself time, review everything, go over it with you. And that's what's great about YouTube. That's what's great about having you guys watch this at a later time, is because you can actually see what we do in this Discord. We have awesome people like Danny and Dan Bob and Covey and myself, where we can bounce ideas off of each other. We can bring ourselves up to speed of what's going on, and you're not stuck in your own damn head, because I'm telling you, if I didn't have this awesome community and I didn't have you, Danny, I would not be this far on my journey. So I just want to say thank you. I appreciate your time today.
I'm happy to hear that, and it
Before
was
we
great.
before we end this, do you have any words of wisdom you want to share, or anything else that you want to
I
bring up?
I actually think when you said about NNE,
Yeah,
that you would wait for a couple of days. If you will just pull up on our chart
yeah,
and remove the extended, uh,
sure.
I mean the pre-market and after hours,
Yeah, I'll
I
do that
already
right now.
think this is tight enough, because if you will check, the ADR is 29%, and the previous range, like the range we had yesterday, was only 12%. So if the whole day's range is only third, or a little bit less than third,
Uh huh.
or actually more, a little bit more than third of the ADR, it's tight enough. Like I understand on daily it looks a little bit loose, but if you will just take the ADR and measure it from that, I think it's already tight enough
Okay.
for a trade on Monday.
Well,
And
I do have my alert
I-
set at 28.75. So if we do
yeah,
break previous day's high and there's volume like I seen here on the 27th of last month, that volume that came in was overwhelmingly high.
yes,
Overwhelmingly high. And there was no shred of doubt in my mind. And I made a
hmm,
lot of money on the second. I think I made, in percentage wise, 3, 6, 9, like 9% on this trade, dude, from here to
yeah,
here, because we played all the way back from here, 750. So I think all in all, I made like 9% on this trade, and this one here, I think I made another 2 or 3% right here.
I see.
Actually, I think more. Actually, to be quite honest, but I'm trying to be. I don't want to over exaggerate it all, but now I feel like because we played this all the way back here, this was just a picture perfect trade. Shout out to Covey for
Yeah,
bringing this up. This was a picture perfect trade. Now this, if you really dial it down, it looks very
it
similar to
does.
that. And now that we've seen this on the daily and there's even more eyes on this, I think this thing could really get moving. Really get
I
moving.
also
Like,
think,
I mean,
and
this has some potential. I mean, we might see 100 on this thing. You know, like it's ridiculous. So,
I just want to add that about sectors and groups. Like, how do you find them? You find them through setups. Like,
yeah.
this is an amazing setup. This is like one of the leading stocks and the best performing stocks. So you will just see this is like nuclear related stock. Also, SMR is it's like choppy and it's hard to trade. I still am in that
Are you
name.
still holding from
Yes,
925?
because I entered much lower.
You
I
son of a
entered
biscuit.
because
That's
yeah,
beautiful. That was a beautiful trend
but it's
break, dude.
hard.
It shook me out.
Yeah,
Shook me out, dude, but I can't
but
complain.
like
You know what I mean? I'm following my
yeah.
criteria, so
So I think you should actually make notes like what could drive nuclear sector right now. For
okay.
example, Trump was talking a lot about nuclear energy in All In podcasts, for
Okay.
example. So we know that if he gets elected, there could be like government, what are these benefits for the nuclear companies,
Okay.
and
Yeah, because he much rather
therefore,
America be self-sustainable rather than importing
yeah,
our energy and stuff like that. So
exactly. So
yeah.
that's why I think it's pretty important to just mark which sectors are working. And previously, now the past month, it has clearly been miners and especially the high performance computing AI miners, which
Okay.
do not hold Bitcoin, but they use uh, their services for other companies. And I've read that many analyst companies are, or like for example, Goldman and other analysts are expecting that these companies won't even be miners in future, but they will work in like offer their services to, for example, Tesla and other bigger companies.
Okay.
So that's why it is pretty important to think and understand what is the difference between the companies inside the sector.
Okay. I like it. I like it. All
Yeah.
very thought provoking. You always have me. I mean, I don't even have to look for things to study. I mean, what you are putting in our Discord channel is plenty enough to read through, to think about, and we really appreciate you, Danny. So thank you for
Yeah,
being with us.
that's great. Yeah,
Okay.
that's great. And I think, do you have anything else?
I don't have anything. I just Dan Bob, do you have anything?
I have a question separate from the conversation.
Okay,
Yeah.
go for it, brother.
Uh, so today I've been reading about RSI, using it as a momentum indicator. Uh, is that something you ever use, Danny?
I used to, yeah, I've studied it a lot. And, but what do you mean by momentum? RSI, it's like most people will see it as a indicator for finding divergences, for
Yeah.
example.
Yes.
But like, I think it's only it's not working in our strategies that well. I think it's in like reversion trades, like for example, just for indices, you can see better that is it oversold, but also when markets are hot, it will stay oversold, and it's like a positive indicator for that. But I don't use those indicators at all. I used them for maybe 6 months when I started, but I don't see value in
With the
those at
S&P
all.
500 rip tater.
And I
What was
wonder if that
that?
goes with the
Sorry about that.
Bollinger Bands as well.
Sorry?
The Bollinger Bands, kind of the same category.
I wouldn't say that that's the same category. I think that can be beneficial because do you know on Twitter the ASIM trader or ASIM trading, ASYM? I can link him up. But if you will just check, he's like a very known person who trades pretty similar strategies with us. And he uses Bollinger Bands to find breakouts. For example, if we'll go, Dave, can you add,
I'm
for
posting it
example,
right now.
yeah, if you can, no,
It's in the
if you will
general chat.
just find, if you
Oh.
can just find, like, for example, NNE,
Sure.
and put 15-minute charts on the day when it broke out.
Sure.
When was it? It was on the 14th of June.
Okay. We'll do 15-minute chart on the 4th of June.
14th.
Okay.
And also add the, you can just press A. You know, there are the numbers on the right. On the right, there is like, yeah, and then go lower, 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 and there is A and L, and you will press an A, yeah.
What?
Exactly. Yeah, and then you will just zoom in into that, and it will, yeah.
Come on,
excellent.
dude.
And can you just, from indicators, you can add Bollinger Bands.
Sure.
And I will explain to Dan what that means. Not strategy. It has to be Bollinger Bands, the normal one.
This one? Okay.
Yeah. Or you can remove, like, for example, the ADR, ATR table.
Yeah.
Yeah, just remove it. And add the normal Bollinger Bands. Excellent. Wonderful. So here, you can go to the breakout point. Just zoom in. Okay, excellent. Here is the perfect example. So ASIM trader, or ASIM, he says that he will enter when the 15-minute chart closes above the Bollinger Band. What was it? I wasn't sure. Is it? Yeah, deviation band. Yeah, so it has to close above it, because was it like 95% of the time it's not closing above it. It's like very rare, and if the rare thing happens, then it means that you have like a special event, which is like meaning something important. So that's where he enters, and he also puts like stop above the latest pivot point, not the low of the day, but like in this case he would have put it 6.75 somewhere over there, or 7. Yeah, I think he would have put it, no, yeah, now I remember. He puts his stop below the Bollinger Band, the lower Bollinger Band.
Okay.
Yeah, he puts it there. That's his strategy. And he has done also pretty well. So, I mean, you can use this because, for example, some people just use the trend line break. Some people use 5-minute open range breaks, but this dude uses like 15-minute breaks of the Bollinger Band. So it's not enough that it breaks it, but it has to close above it.
Okay.
Do you understand, Dan?
Yes, I do. Thank you.
Excellent. So you can try and implement and try on this with like past winners. Take some like crypto miners like IREN, CORZ, HU, and also HUT. Then BT, and what was some others? Also WULF was pretty good. So you can just try on and see if it works, because it reduces the thing that you don't have to think. You have to just think much less in this case, because you have exact rules like when to buy and where to put the stop in, and it reduces your human errors when trading. But I think that this doesn't provide good enough risk reward, because the risk is much bigger. I don't think you have to put your stop that much far from the entry, and that just eats up your risk reward. So his mission is just to capture like more, for example, 5R trades. Yeah.
They look pretty nice on the S&P 500, where it kind of gives you a chance
Yeah.
of showing you
Yeah, it is good.
where you're reverting from the mean, you know.
Yeah, the mean is 20-day moving average.
Oh, is it? Oh, look at that.
Yeah, it is.
See, I use
That's
a
why.
21-day moving average, and if we're below it,
Yeah.
so I'm basically using a Bollinger Band. So that's
Yeah.
pretty cool. All indicators are, you know, they somehow have a correlation, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
Very
that's
cool.
right. Well, here, do you have other questions?
Yeah, would you put his name, the guy for Twitter, in general
did.
chat?
I already did that for you, Dan Bob.
Awesome.
It's in there,
Beautiful.
brother.
Thank you.
No problem, man. Any other questions?
Oh, I have dozens, but I won't keep them.
All right.
You can do one.
I'm gonna end the
Okay.
the
Excellent. We can do it
YouTube.
another day.
But
Yeah.
I want to say thank you so much for being here. And guys, if you're watching at a later time, you're more than welcome to join our Discord. It's absolutely free. If you want to get a hold of this trading platform where you can change the indicators, we give you a scan for free each week. And yeah, it's just a very powerful charting platform. You can even add your brokerage on the bottom. Use my link in the description and you will get $15 off if you plan to upgrade. Other than that, you can stick with the free plan too. That always works out. But thank you guys so much for joining us. And if you made it all the way to the end, honestly, if you made it all the way to the end, we know that you're here to work on yourself, to better yourself. We want you to be a part of our Discord. We want you to join up. We're recruiting, okay? It's not gonna be long and we're gonna have well over 1,000 people in here. Right now we only have 100 and we can keep up with everybody's questions, but it's not going to be long where we're going to have to make like a separate Discord and only take the best of the best after people actually learn the strategies. So join up now while you can, and we'll see you guys very, very soon.